Welcome to DJ's True Crime and Mysteries. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let's get into tonight's story. It's a doozy. If you are a church goer, when you go to church, you probably feel safe. You probably feel that you're amongst other people that have the same values and ideas, faith that you do. And for Missy Bevers, the morning she entered the church, I am sure she felt safe and that she was going to be amongst people that felt just like her. Unfortunately, Missy was very, very wrong. At 3:50 in the morning, church security camera turns on. The hallway lights glow a pale white. No voices can be heard. There was no congregation there at that time. And no service was scheduled for that day. And then someone walks into the frame. They're dressed like the police, complete with helmet, vest, gloves, but they carry a hammer. That's right, you heard me right. Carried a hammer. They open doors slowly, one after another. Not searching, not stealing, just waiting. See, 16 minutes later, a woman unlocks the front entrance. She walks toward the hallway, unknowingly walking right towards the person waiting for her. As I said before, she believed that she was very safe. She was in a very safe environment. She was really, really wrong. Midlothian, Texas, April 18th, 2016. Harry Missy Bevers was not the type of person people forgot meeting. She remembered names, birthdays, even injuries. She'd ask about your kids, even if you had only told her once, months earlier. She ran Camp Gladiator fitness classes, and they felt less like workouts and more like a community. People woke up at 4:30 a.m. willingly, because Missy would be there smiling when they arrived. Every Monday, she ran an early morning class inside Creekside Church of Christ. You see, the building allowed indoor sessions when Texas storms begin to roll through. And that week, storms were very prevalent. Heavy rain, wind, lightning, thunder, everything that a Texas storm can leash out. Thunderstorms moved across Ellis County overnight. Heavy rain, wind pushing across empty parking lot, streetlights reflecting in puddles. It was the kind of morning where most people would cancel. Missy never canceled, and she didn't that morning. At 4:16 a.m., she texted a participant, "Rain or shine, we are still on." Because she always showed up. 3:50 a.m., 50 minutes before class, church cameras recorded movement. There was a figure in police tactical gear, and they entered the church. There was no forced entry on camera. They were already inside. And what they did next changed the entire investigation. They wandered, opened classroom doors, looked through small window panes, and they tapped glass with a hammer. They weren't there to steal, weren't searching. They were just killing time. Police would later determine this was not a burglary. The burglars move fast, and they avoid cameras, and they grab valuables. This person moved extremely calmly, almost casually. They expected someone to arrive, and they knew who was arriving. Missy had left home that morning around 4:20 a.m. Her husband Brandon was out of state on a fishing trip, and that was later verified complete. So she drove alone through the rain. She arrived at the church around 4:35 a.m. Surveillance from a nearby business captured her truck pulling into the church parking lot. She carried in a mat, a speaker, and workout supplies. She unlocked the front door. She walked inside. She propped it open for class members. And then she walked down the hallway, unknowingly, towards the person that was waiting for her. Cameras never showed the killing directly. They damn sure recorded the aftermath. And forensic evidence, well, it told the rest. Approximately 4:40 a.m., a violent struggle occurred. Missy fought for her life. Missy fought hard. And defensive wounds covered her hands and arms. Telling what she couldn't. She gave it everything she had. The hammer was used repeatedly. And it was not quick. And it was personal. No valuables taken, no assault beyond the killing, nothing stolen afterward. The attacker just left. At 5 a.m., participants began arriving. Rain was still falling. They noticed the door open, the lights were on. They also noticed that the music equipment was not set up. And that was probably their first cue that something was off, something was wrong. Because Missy was always prepared, waiting, ready for everyone to show up. Participants called out her name.
Missy, Missy, Missy.
And they got no answer. One person did walk farther inside. And they found her. Emergency responders arrived quickly. She was already gone. When police reviewed the footage, the case changed drastically and immediately. All because of one detail: the walk. See, this person had a very distinct, unmistakable walk. The feet angled outward, a slow rolling step, and the right leg slightly different stride. Unmistakable. Biomechanical experts studied it. They estimated the height 5'2", 5'8", with a medium build. Possibly a natural gait, not a disguise. Meaning, someone who knew the killer could recognize them instantly. So why did they wear police gear? Well, investigators believed it gave the attacker seconds of hesitation. If Missy saw a burglar, she's going to run, or at least attempt to. But she sees a police officer, she's going to approach. Those seconds allow distance to close. And once close, escape became very, very unlikely. Around 2 a.m., a nearby sporting goods store camera captured a car circling the area repeatedly. It was a light-colored Nissan Altima, and it made several slow passes. It exhibited waiting behavior, and the car was never identified. But police definitely believe it was connected. Detectives gradually moved away from random violence. Everything pointed to targeted homicide. The early arrival, the waiting behavior, there was no theft, specific victim timing, and a disguise strategy. This person had thought out completely and planned this encounter well ahead of the encounter itself. Obviously, they knew her schedule, and they knew that she arrived alone. Just a little bit of my personal thought on that. This was definitely somebody that Missy knew. And at 5'2" to 5'8", I personally feel that it was a woman. The most disturbing fact after the killing was that the person did not run. Unbelievably, they walked out calmly at the exact same pace they used when they entered, because they believed they could never, ever be recognized. That confidence, well, still haunts investigators to this day. Storm hid the noise that morning. Rain striking the roof, thunder covering impact. And inside a church that was meant for safety, someone waited nearly an hour, one single person. Not for money, not for opportunity, but for her. And years later, police still believe the answer is simple. Somewhere, someone watched that footage, and they knew exactly who that walk belonged to. They just never said it out loud. You see, from the very beginning, police believed the gait, the way the person walked, would be the breakthrough, because it was unusually identifiable. Again, the feet were angled outward at a very short stride length, and a slight right leg swing, and very relaxed, unhurried movement. They had consulted biomechanical analyst, podiatrist, and gait specialist. The working theory was this: someone who personally knew the attacker would immediately recognize that walk. sure they did. Thousands of tips came in after the footage was released publicly. People reported coworkers, relatives, ex-partners, even their neighbors. Every major lead was investigated, and none matched conclusively. There was no arrest, and there was no official suspect named. Investigators later acknowledged several complications. Tactical gear altered body proportions. Helmet, vest, and boots can subtly change stride mechanics. Injury versus natural gait, unclear. It might not be permanent. It could be from temporary pain or even the footwear. Human recognition is unreliable. People often recognize patterns that fit expectations. No supporting forensic evidence, DNA recovered, has not matched anyone in databases publicly disclosed. Current status of this case: murder of Missy Bevers, April 18, 2016, Midlothian, Texas, remains an open, unsolved homicide. Police still periodically request tips specifically about anyone whose walk matches the video, especially someone who suddenly changed routine, moved away, or discarded gear after April 2016.